From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode 28. This is episode 29 of Fans Talk TNA. This week we'll cover the live May 8th, 2015 episode of Impact Wrestling on Destination America, as well as the rest of the news and notes that happened this week. My name is Garvin, and with us to talk some TNA is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Do you know who I am?
I do. Welcome back. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, you can find us at fanstalktna.com. You got the full archive. There's all the subscription links and ways to support us. Definitely click the green button and join us over on the Patreon side. It would be much, much appreciated. So, Nick, let's just go right into what happened this week. This week was the first live episode on Destination America that we've had since really the debut of TNA in January, I think. So we also saw the return of Bully Ray, and surprise, surprise, no Al Snow on commentary. Once again, it was just Josh Matthews by himself. So we'll talk about that, but let's talk about what happened in our different stories and feuds and whatnot. So the first one I want to talk about is Magnus versus Storm. This has been growing for the last few weeks, and it's been going different directions. We weren't sure what's going on, but I think now it's becoming much more clear, and we are getting to the point where we can say, yeah, Nick, I think you have successfully figured out what this plan is as far as James Storm trying to pit Magnus and Mickie James against one another, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, for sure. This was the first time we really saw a definitive indication that Storm is not Storm is up to no good. Like that little smile after getting hit with a guitar. And yeah, absolutely. Mickie is not at all happy with what Magnus is doing. So if not next week, I'm expecting within the next couple of weeks that Mickie will be siding with Storm openly.
Yeah. And I think for sure next week we'll probably see that, her put into a position where she needs to make that decision. But I still don't think, like, this still feels like it's disconnected from everything else that James Storm does with the Revolution. This feels like completely on the outside of that.
Yeah, it's got to be a long con if he's trying to get female membership in the Revolution. That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of, too, is just the fact that if we look at how he brought on Sonata and how he brought on Manic, it was all those two guys were guys that he basically beat down, dragged to his barn, and retrained. So if the idea is to bring Mickie James in to the Revolution, like, this is the opposite of how he went about that. What if his plan is really to bring Magnus as a part of the Revolution?
That would be a really neat trick. Because when you go back to Sonata, especially, he wasn't really doing anything to alienate Sonata. I mean, barring the slaps and such, but he also had they don't respect you. They think you're a joke. And eventually he started turning it around to, I can make you better than that. I can make them respect you.
Right.
With Magnus, Storm's very blatantly been getting under Magnus' skin and doing everything he can to turn Mickie away from him. It'd be really difficult to pull off an angle where Storm promises, I took her away from you, I can give her back if you join me.
Yeah, it would be a difficult story to pull that off, but I think overall it would be rather compelling, and I think that Magnus is a better choice as far as joining the Revolution than, like, say, a Manic or Sonata, because at least Manic was basically on his way down. I mean, he was still like in the middle of nothing. Abyss was like in the middle of nothing. Koya had just started, so again, he had like nothing going on. Magnus is a proven commodity, and I think that would add some legitimacy to the Revolution, but it's definitely not showing that James Storm can help people. It's just James Storm can find a way to manipulate you to get you to do what he wants.
There are absolutely more options available if you have Magnus in the Revolution rather than Mickey James. It's just there is a lot of hoops you got to jump through in order to make that happen.
All right. So yeah, overall, I think I'm much better with the story now that everything's kind of falling into place a little bit better. So yeah, Magnus versus James Storm is where we're going. Where that goes after that, who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. Tag team championship race. So the news broke last week that Jeff Hardy broke his leg in a motorcycle or a dirt bike accident, and they had to drop the belts this week. Surprise, surprise. It's realistically about 2 months later since the Wolves had to drop the titles, at least on TV. I think it was like the beginning of March that they dropped the titles. So now they're back. They're ready to go. Heel is completely healed. And so the Wolves are back in the title race, but also in the title race is Austin Aries and Bobby Roode as the Dirty Heels. They got new entrance music, new entrance videos. They seem to be a finished team, as far as they're not just two guys that are partnering. They're an actual tag team now. So overall, your thoughts on the title race with the Wolves versus the Dirty Heels?
First of all, I want to congratulate TNA on that new mashup theme. Very well done. I don't know if that was Surge or Dale Oliver or whoever, but whoever's responsible, well done. As for this building rivalry, I like it. I like the fact that they picked two established tag teams, two former tag team champions, or two former champion teams. I don't know.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, best of 5 series. That's going to be excellent. That reminds me of when Beer Money did the same thing. So yeah, and these two teams are at least as good, I think.
Well, and it does spread them out to see if they, can stay healthy. Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to go back to the, two episodes a night taping schedule, probably in a 3-day period. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it just because it's like, it feels like we just had that round robin tournament at the end of last year. There was the tournament to determine who was or not the tournament. I guess it was like there was a short tournament before we got to the Ultimate X match, right? Wasn't there? Am I confusing that with something else?
It was kind of a tournament. It was like qualifying matches.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like this is going to be too much. We're going to get tired of it, quickly. That's my fear, at least.
Yeah. I don't really have that fear. The only fear I have related to this is I'm not entirely sure how healed Eddie Edwards' heel is, because he didn't say it was healed. He said it was better. So at 2 months seems like kind of a quick recovery time, because that heel bone was broken in half.
2 months is TNA TV time. I think he originally had the injury in the beginning of February, so it was technically about 3 months, 3.5 months maybe.
Okay.
Still, yeah. I mean, it's
the projected time was like 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So I'm a little leery about that. But aside from that, if his heel holds up, then yeah, I don't think I'll personally get tired of.
Yeah, let me get this out. I mean, I am looking forward to the matches that these two teams can put on. What I'm not looking forward to is another feud for the tag team championships that's just between two teams. And we're going to get that for up to 5 matches, most likely 5 matches. So, I'd rather see some more teams in there just to give us some variety. Because I don't think this is going to be an every week thing. It'll probably be like maybe 2 weeks in a row and then a break. I just can't imagine they're going to spread this over 5 weeks. It's probably going to be over a 2-month thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Although, maybe this could end at Slammiversary in June. I think it's like June 20th or something along those lines.
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it.
I'm just pulling up the calendar. I think maybe it was June 21st. We'll look at that date, but that'll give us about, a month and a half, of time to really have this tournament. So I don't know. I just want there to be more variety with the tag team division. It seems like TNA has either went with 2 teams or 3 teams, and there's just no one else.
Yeah. Depending on how Storm versus Magnus goes, that could be another potential 2 teams, like Koya and Manic facing off with Magnus and whoever he picks his partner, and they get involved. I don't see the BDC and the Rising getting involved in this, just because I don't know how long Homicide's supposed to be out with that shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
And I guess Kenny King could pull double duty as X Division champ and also tag title contender.
Yeah, I think it's a real shame that they're not involving a title race in that feud. I think that would add a little bit more depth to what they're fighting over. So yeah, I mean, yes, you could have Kenny King in there, but you also have Low Key and MVP. They could easily fight for the tag team championship.
Yeah, I guess I was just mentally reserving him or MVP specifically for like a world title run, but
sure,
that's pretty crowded. So yeah, MVP could definitely shift over there.
So, all right, well, let's actually talk about the BDC versus the Rising. This week, we got a little bit more development. MVP versus Drew Galloway was your main match. They did get involved in, the main event, but we'll talk about that in a second. Some major highlights for me was just the fact that, EY did, help them, as far as the BDC take out the Rising earlier in the night. They also, there was this talk between EY helping BDC because he wants the BDC to help him with him as champion. The BDC has the championship. So, I just thought it was interesting that EY went in with that logic, just because that was basically how they work the whole Lashley and the BDC, partnership. So, it was just nice to see that they pulled that back and EY was willing to take advantage of that kind of, planning, considering like how crazy they try to make him out to be.
Yeah, I think that worked out well because with how unhinged EY is, it makes sense that he would think the BDC still aligned with him. But then that one comment Kenny King made after EY walked away is, what are we doing still hooking up with Looney Tunes? And yeah, it seems like they just view him as a disposable tool, maybe like a temporary stand-in for Homicide that they can do away with as they please. Yeah. So I like that dynamic.
Yeah. So I guess we should talk about the opening segment for this feud with the BDC, and that is MVP going on a bit of a anti-government, anti-US, anti-society rant, and I really haven't read any reports on this, so I don't know if there were reports of what he actually said, but the feedback that I'm seeing on Twitter and our Facebook group is that he basically dropped the N-word during the promo. It was censored when I watched, so again, I don't know exactly what he said, but that in context would have made sense. But yeah, do you think anything will come of that? Have you read anything as far as fallout from that?
I haven't seen any rumors citing like official sources. I've seen a lot of stuff like on our Facebook page about how Destination America won't be happy about this. And I don't imagine they're exactly doing handsprings or jumping for joy over it.
Yeah.
But it is a heel saying it, and it's not exactly out of left field. He's never really gone that far on TV, but yeah, on social media, that whole tirade was exactly in line with how he is on Twitter and such. So for me, like, I wasn't expecting him to drop that particular bomb, but in retrospect, it fits the character. It makes sense.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, how did that rant apply to the story?
But it was a relationship he was making where Like, the government does what it wants and justifies it however it can. And the BDC does the same thing. It does what it does because it can.
Yeah.
Yet, when you look at the Rising and how they supposedly took out Homicide, and they get cheered. But when the BDC does what the U.S. government does, what the U.S. military does, what law enforcement does, they get booed. They get denigrated as thugs. And to view it from that perspective, that's bullshit.
Sure. No, I get that. I just, I don't know. I get it. It was controversial. I just don't know if he needed to go that far with it, because realistically, only the live crowd heard it, and it was never talked about again. It was, Josh Matthews only said, "Well, this is a live TV kind of comment," but that was it.
Yeah, I think it's just for the purpose of adding another layer of heel heat.
Okay, so we'll find out. We'll find out if there's anything. But as far as I've seen, like, I haven't seen anything from like a major news source that is suggesting there's problems or anything like that. So most likely he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But all right. So the last part of the BDC versus Rising, was Drew stopping Matt Hardy in the back. Again, Matt Hardy dropped the titles this week because, Jeff is hurt. He was leaving the arena. Drew seemingly asked him to join the Rising. That's at least that's how I took it. But basically he stopped him and he said, that they have a common, they have a lot of things in common. They live by the same rules. They have the same methods, and they fight the fight that's worth fighting. So, to me, it came off that that he was asking Matt Hardy to join the Rising. Did you feel that same way?
Yeah, that was what I took from that. I don't necessarily know why Matt Hardy would join. In fact, I'm not even sure why Galloway was making that request, I guess. Depending on whether Homicide comes back soon or not. Like, if Homicide was in the equation, yeah, it absolutely makes sense that Galloway would want backup. But right now it is 3-on-3. Yeah. So yeah, that was just kind of a weird spot, especially since Hardy didn't join them in the main event.
Yeah, that's so weird. So let's go ahead and talk about the World Championship race. Is specifically EY versus Angle. Again, EY was working with the BDC to, try to get them to join him to help him win. They did get involved. But it ended with the Rising coming out to take out the BDC along with Chris Melendez. And, it was just kind of chaos on the outside of the ring. And Bully Ray was your special guest referee. So, we did talk about that in the intro, but yeah, Bully Ray was involved as the guest officiator. So, overall, I was surprised that Chris Melendez was there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad there wasn't really a screwy finish. I mean, it was sort of screwy, but it wasn't like, like Bully Ray didn't screw EY out. Instead, EY, it was his mistakes that caused him to, be caught in the ankle lock.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated that as well. It very well could have been a screwy finish. Either the BDC actually did manage to set Angle up for an EY win, or Bully decides, no, you know what? You low blowed me. I'm going to screw you right back. Angle wins. And I'm right there with you as well. I have no idea why Chris Melendez came out. There's the broad, tenuous connection of Angle is an American icon. Chris Melendez is an ex-soldier, but we haven't seen Melendez in forever, and there's never been that connection between him and Angle.
And I can't really see him adding anything worthwhile to either of those feuds, either helping Angle or either, him joining the Rising.
No, now that I think about it, there was the angle between Melendez and Kenny King. I don't remember if he targeted Kenny King first when he came out. If he did, that would make sense, but I don't know. There were just better people to come out.
Yeah, I don't recall because he came out first, and I don't remember who he attacked, but he ended up on the ground because the three of them went after him, and then that's when the Rising came out to really help make the save. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't see where he fits in just yet. But I guess we'll find out. But I'm not liking it. Like, I'd rather have someone out there like Gunner. I think Gunner would have been fine, or like Matt Hardy. I mean, they teased the addition of Matt Hardy to the Rising. I think that would have been something nice for him to do while Jeff heals.
Yeah, and Gunner would have made much more sense as Angle's backup. Not necessarily affiliating himself with the Rising, but just to have Angle's back.
Yeah. So, so EY is lost. So Angle is still your TNA World Heavyweight Champion. What did you think about Bully Ray's addition to the show?
I think it was interesting. Didn't really influence things one way or the other. It makes for a nice talking point, but he was very non-committal all throughout. Like, Angle wants to know if he's calling the match down the middle. EY is demanding to know whether Bully is going to be the next guy to screw him. And he's just, I'm here because they asked me to ref the match. I'm just going to let you two go and beat the shit out of each other, and that's fine by me. And even after he got low blow, like, he took absolutely no retribution whatsoever.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if this is just a one-time thing.
Well, and yes, it is. At least as it stands right now, I think, Bully on Twitter did come out and say that it was just a one-time thing. There isn't anything else planned. And, he is still leaning towards wanting to be a part of WWE. So he wants the fans to help him get there, to help WWE notice that, the fans want him there. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But, obviously he still has a good enough relationship that despite that want, TNA still has the door open for him. So.
Yeah, and he's also got the connection with Velvet too.
Yeah. So, I guess we can just jump into that part. Velvet. Velvet made her return. And again, it could have just been a one-time thing, but to me, it feels like more of a, beginning of a new feud. Velvet comes back, attacks Angelina Love while Angelina Love is saying that, she's the only beautiful person in existence. Are you ready for the Angelina Love versus Velvet Sky feud?
I'm intrigued for sure. Velvet's presenting a whole different image, one we've never seen.
Yeah.
Like, this felt like, I don't know, I was getting vibes like I got with Tara. Just the tough, no nonsense chick that's going to beat the tar out of you. I don't necessarily know if Velvet can pull that off, but yeah, just a stone face and the spear. That was actually a pretty good spear. It's enough to keep me interested.
Yeah, the spear, and she's got tattoos all up her arm. I think there was, like, at one point last year, because I went back to look at some photos to verify. She had like one ring around her bicep, but this was like full shoulder type thing. So yeah,
she's been adding them over the last little while.
Yeah, so she's tatted up and she's wearing all ripped jeans. So yeah, it's definitely a new look for a new vibe. I'm interested, but I'm not totally sold on it. And it looks like, I mean, if you listen to Josh Matthews in his commentary, he did remind us that Velvet Sky is not on the roster yet, that she was fired. So she's not technically there, but it's probably one of those things that if she does return soon, she has that feud to come back into.
Yeah. Personally, I've been wondering whether she's actually been gone. Because it was a very hokey way that she was released.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I don't really know. I just get the feeling that, yeah, she never really actually left.
Yeah, but it does make sense, in real life. She is with Bully Ray. So, I could see them both, taking that time off to see what they could, do in WWE if they could both get contracts. But, obviously that didn't happen. I mean, that's the way I took it. But, maybe she hasn't been back. Maybe she's just been taking time off. It's hard to tell because we never know like what people's contracts are.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do this quick. There was two more feuds, or two more matches. The one match was, the Dollhouse versus Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. Real quick, what was your thoughts on that?
It was kind of all over the place. There were some good spots for sure. And I kind of hope that Gail and Awesome Kong continue to have this uneasy truce between them as they face off against the Dollhouse, but nobody seemed to really be working well together.
No.
Even among the Dollhouse, I don't know what it is. I don't recall Jade and Marty Bell working together much on the indies. And I think that showed. Nobody really seemed to work well as a team. The only real chemistry that I think I saw was between Jade and Gail Kim when they were in the ring together. I'd be very interested in watching a singles match between those two, but beyond that.
Yeah, I agree with you. As far as the in-ring stuff, I almost attribute it to the way the Dollhouse are as far as characters go. So they're very, random. They're very,
very erratic.
Yeah. So, the tags in didn't always make sense. They weren't working as a well-oiled team as far as bringing your opponent to the corner and then tagging in. It was all really random and erratic, like you said. So yeah, but that's what I attributed to just their characters. The real winner here for me was Taryn Terrell. I think the way she's playing that new character style, I think is working really well for her.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. That stolen win, that makes a lot of sense, even if it was at the expense of her quote unquote friends.
Yeah. All right. So EC3 versus Anderson in the Falls Count Anywhere match. That was the last thing that happened. Not necessarily in chronological order, but still. EC3 is still undefeated. He is now 554 days undefeated, according to Josh Matthews. Overall, do you see this feud continuing?
It probably will. I really don't see why it would, and I don't think there's any more that can be gotten from this, but they probably will.
Yeah, I see this going on for at least another couple of weeks. But I'm ready. I'm ready for EC3 to move on. I doubt it's a one and done thing just because of how much effort they put into the build up towards it. But yeah, this was no surprise for me. Anderson lost pretty easily, but again, it was Falls Count Anywhere, so no DQ. Tyrus was involved a lot. I think just because Tyrus was involved in so much of it, that they'll probably have a second match to really, legitimize him, as far as EC3, just to continue his climb up.
Yeah, I'm imagining some scenario where Tyrus is chained to a pipe backstage, or he's locked up in a cage, suspended by the ring, or something that keeps him out of the equation.
All right, wins of the week.
My win of the week is going to be the announcement of the best of 5 series between the Wolves and the Dirty Heels. That's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm glad Eddie Edwards is back and apparently healthy again. So yeah, very much looking forward to that.
My win of the week is going to go towards the EY video package that we got right before the main event. TNA has been just kicking ass as far as videos building up their big matches, their big time matches. And this was as good as any that they've done so far. So, I'm really enjoying that. I hope they continue that. It really makes it feel that more important. So, if you fail,
I've got to give it to the Knockouts match, if only because, relatively speaking, it was the thing I was least impressed with. Like I mentioned before, there were a lot of good spots in this match, but yeah, it was just too erratic for my liking.
All right, my fail is going to go to Chris Melendez helping Angle and the Rising, or whatever you would say that he did out there. I didn't even know what he did, but it's not adding anything worthwhile for me. So,
yeah.
All right. So, next week we've got the beginning of the Wolves versus Dirty Heels best of 5 series for the tag team championships. Again, I think their first match is next week. Nothing else really has been announced, at the time that we were recording this. Also, Fans Talk TNA champion has changed once again. Kurt Angle defeated EY this week. So Kurt Angle is now your Fans Talk TNA champion. So now we're back to being on the same track as TNA. Final thoughts before we head out?
Nope, just bring on the tag matches.
Yeah. Yep. That's it for me as well. So thank you for joining the conversation once again. If you're listening on YouTube, you can continue the conversation in the comments section as well as on the comment section of our website over at fanstalktna.com. If you're listening on demand through a podcast player or SoundCloud, you can reach out to us on Google+, Twitter, Facebook, and even Instagram. Again, all those links are over on fanstalktna.com, as well as the full archive and links to our Patreon page. Definitely drop a few dollars if you can. That really helps us, continue to keep this whole thing funded. And if you listen on demand through a service that allows you to leave ratings and reviews, please just take a moment, let people know that this is where they should be talking TNA. See you guys next week.